Hey everyone, I want to walk you through my long-term 40,000 mile owner review. I can't believe I've had my car for this long. It's crazy, but I have, and I wanted to share what this experience has been like and kind of talk through what have been some of the best highlights, what do I still love about the car, and then which things are less optimal about the ownership experience. So the number one thing that I love about the car, even after all this time, is by far the power. You know, BMW really knocked it out of the park with these new turbocharged engines. There's very little turbo lag. It makes torque all the time. It'll pin you back in your seat all the time. And the power is just stupendous. Like, even after owning it as long as I have, and even after as much shenanigans as I put this car through, the fact that it can still surprise me with how powerful and how responsive it is an awesome feat. And my hat's off to BMW, because that is number one, the thing that is most special about this car. I also still really love the styling. Again, BMW really kind of chose to take a very restrained, almost conservative approach, especially to the exterior styling of these new M3 and M4s. And I think it pays off beautifully, because the car looks awesome. You know, it's going to age really well because it doesn't have a lot of really trendy, slashes and creases and all the stuff that's really starting to spread across really every car range. It has just enough sort of specialness to it, just enough aggression and M-specific things about it beyond what the regular 3 and 4 series have, without being too much or overwrought or anything like that. The styling on this thing is awesome. Another thing to really love about the car is the interior. The styling in here is really top-notch, and the quality of materials is really great. BMW, again, took a very sort of classic, conservative approach, but I think it works really well. One of the things about the M cars is that it's a really good car if you're forgetful. If you need a reminder of what car you're driving, BMW's got you covered, because there are M-specific badging everywhere on this car. There's an M badge on the front, the back, both sides, all four wheels, every brake. When you come into the inside, you have M badging on the instruments, you have it on the wheel, you have it on the shifter, you have it on the seats, which is very handy. The M badging may be a little bit too much, but BMW definitely wants to remind you what it is you're driving. Another great thing is just how comfortable this car is. You know, it's roomy without being too big. The seats are fantastic. I love the seats in this car so much. They are so comfortable. I've also been really impressed with the reliability of this car. 40,000 miles, the only thing I've had to do are regular scheduled maintenance. I haven't had any breaks, anything beyond just doing oil changes and, air filter, spark plugs. Everything that BMW includes in their standard maintenance package, that's all I've needed to do, which has been really great. Especially since these are turbocharged engines, and it was sort of the first time BMW had done this in an M car, a lot of people seem, I think, justifiably hesitant to know what's the long-term reliability. And my experience has been that it's awesome. It's been very low, really no cost of ownership from that perspective, which is great. It just means more money for gas. But speaking of, that is actually one of the things that I've been pleasantly surprised with on the M4, is that the fuel economy, I know this isn't super sexy, but the fuel economy has been really, really impressive. You buy a car like this, you're not going to be taking it to the max 100% of the time, and it's nice that, in more everyday driving, highway driving especially, you can get fuel economy that's in the mid to high 20s, which for a car that makes this much power is awesome. So let's talk about maybe some downsides that have sort of become apparent. I don't know how much of it is coming through in the audio in this video, but the interior rattles a lot more than I would expect from a car in this price range. A lot of glass rattling, a lot of plastic rattling that has really just added up over the miles. Beyond just the interior rattling more than I would like, it is just noisy in here. That's probably the biggest like day-to-day livability thing to know about the M4 is that it is a really, really loud car. Which is great if I'm putting my foot to the floor and I want to just hear the engine shrieking in the background, but it's less great if I just want to have a quiet conversation or just take it easy and not have to deal with a lot of drama. It's a really loud place to be. So I think the big question is, would I get this car again if I were buying one today? And that's a good question because there's a lot of competition in this space. And some of it's new even since this generation was released a couple years ago. You have your standard players. You have the Mercedes C63, the Audi RS5, the Porsche Cayman or Boxster. But there are also a lot of other newer competition for BMW. Alfa Romeo's back in the US with the Giulia. And you also have some potentially unexpected competition, right? The Ford and Chevy have high-performance versions of the Mustang and the Camaro, which are now competing in the same price space. But I definitely think this is one of my top contenders. If I were looking at the field today, I think BMW just has an excellent overall package. You know, it's not the fastest, it's not the most luxurious, it doesn't quite sound the best. My opinion, that's the Mustang, hands down. But it's the combination of all of those that BMW does really, really well. And the one thing that is most important when you're buying a car for fun is how it makes you feel and how special the car feels. Another question is, if I were doing this again, you know, what would I get on my car? Would I do the same build or would I switch it up a little bit? I would probably go for largely the same thing. I really like the carbon structure seats, so I wouldn't do any of BMW's leather options. I just really love the cloth seats. Definitely would do a 6-speed again. I would probably do the competition package, which wasn't available when this car was built. It gives you more power, a different sound, revised suspension, different wheels. It seems like it's worth the cost of entry. And the only other thing I would probably change is the color. I really like my mineral gray, this dark, sort of understated gray. But I would probably mix it up with my next M car and do something that's a little bit bolder. Probably something like the Chic orange or maybe sort of a custom blue. But other than that, I would probably spec it largely the same way because I'm really happy with how this car turned out. So that's the review. Overall, the experience has been top-notch. It's an awesome car to drive. I still get really excited just to go take the car out every single day. And it's been an easy experience. Again, 40,000 miles, nothing's gone wrong. Yes, the interior rattles a little bit. But beyond that, I really have no criticisms of the car. More to come in the coming weeks. Some thoughts on newly announced cars, some thoughts on what I think of the competitors in this space. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you do like my video, please do subscribe because I update just about every week with other thoughts on cars, different videos and experiences about owning this car. I'll have a couple of reviews up in the coming weeks with some cars of people I know. I have a Mustang review that's going to come up pretty soon, but thanks again for watching, and this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed.